Hello everyone, this is Rohit Manoharan from Networkers Home and welcome back to the Checkpoint Lab training. So in this video, we will be discussing how to implement identity awareness, right? So talking about identity awareness, from long ages, we know we have a challenge that whatever traffic comes from any interface, goes through any interface, we just know its IP and destination and all. We never knew who was the initiator behind the IP. Anyone can use that IP. So I will explain it to you by example. Consider 192.168.1.120 was directing towards 63.8.0.112, right? So in our firewall, when we check the logs, we know that 192 generated this traffic to 63.8.0.112. But we never know who was the user behind this IP address, right? Who was the user behind it? And in a corporate environment, a single IP can be used by two. When he can sit in the same PC, means two person who was sitting in the same PC, and who generated this traffic, we never know, right? May it be Bob or may it be John. Both are using this same PC for administration purposes, and one of the guys ruined the thing. Okay, so we never know who ruined it. We never know the user. So identity awareness is something that is very much useful in checkpoint environment or any firewall environment, right? So we'll be discussing about that, and without stretching this end into theory, we will jump into the lab scenario. So let's check the lab scenario and let me rub it all so that it's easy. So in our lab scenario, we have a network of 192.168.1.0/24. We have a PC at .120 and manager at .110, our firewall one at .111, which means .111, right? So we have added an AD server from which we will be taking the users. Okay. So, and one more thing, we have a web server which is in internet, which is 63.8.0.25. So basically, there are many types of checking methods. We can use an AD. Okay. We can make it as a captive portal, web-based captive portal. Okay, WB based captive portal. We can use the radius, we can use web API. There are many more options to do the identity awareness. For this scenario, I'll be using an AD server, plus I'll be using a captive portal, web-based captive portal. So whenever my PC1 tries to, so the lab scenario is my PC will be going through this firewall and accessing this web server, which is actually running on Windows Server 2012, and the service is IIS. Okay, and we have a AD server in our network from which this firewall will check whether the user is present or not, and he will do the authentication from this AD server, which is also in Windows Server 2012, and the domain that I gave to this Windows AD server is checkpointlab.com. Okay, so without wasting time, let's jump into a Windows box and create some policies, right? So let me do one more thing. I will tell you the procedures, right? So first, what I have not done, what I will not show you is I added this too. So in this video, I will be not covering this because it's not a Windows course. So that's why I will not cover this. But in future, I may post a video about this. But for this video, I implemented AD server and web server. I pointed my DNS server of a 120 PC to this AD server, which will resolve my checkpointlab.com, right? So it will be DNS server will be my 192.168.1.250. As you can see, the AD server's IP is here, right? So you have to change it. So any other will not work, and it can't fetch this checkpointlab.com because it's in my AD server. That's why I changed it to my DNS server to 192.168.1.250. Okay, so that's what I did. Now what I will do is basically go to my firewall. Okay, go to my firewall and activate a blade called identity awareness. Okay, and how I will do it? Through the smart console, which I will be accessing through my 120 PC. Okay, I'll be check mark that blade, and it will be added. The next thing I have to give my AD server from which I will be taking up the users and all. And the last thing, I have to implement a policy which will say that these users, whenever accessing this 63, which is this website, 63.8.0.25, right? So whenever these users accessing these websites, okay, and using the HTTP service, please accept that traffic and give them a web-based captive portal. That's what I will be doing. Okay, so this is just the basic layout of our plan, and let's start the journey, right? So just remember, we have a web server on 63.8.0.25. We have an AD server at 192.168.1.250. Okay, and make sure your Windows has a DNS server as 192.168.1.250. Okay, so you just have to make sure that to begin this. Okay, so I will be writing these all at the site so that you don't forget the IPs and all. But it's up to you. You can change the IPs. In my lab scenario, I have this IPs. It's your lab. You can change the IPs according to you. Okay, so I will rub it all, and let's jump into a Windows PC. For that, I will pause this video for a second. So we are in a management PC, and let's check the connectivity if we can ping our web server. So for that, I will let me clear this out. Yeah. And now I will try to ping our web server, which is 63.8.0.25. And we don't have the connectivity, so we have to add a rule, basically. So we will check, we will add the rule so that we have the connectivity. And let's check our web server's IP2, right? And so as you can see, we are in a web servers. Let me do the CLS to clear it all. I will hit enter. Okay. And to check our IP, you have to basically do IP config, and I'm not doing that. Okay. So I have an IP of 63.8.0.25, which is my default page of any website. So it should be loaded at the other end, which means my PC should load it. Okay. So let's jump into our Windows PC and try to yeah. So as you can see, we have a web page which is 63.8.0.25. We have the default web page, which is IIS server running on Windows 2012 server. The next thing you have to do is go to the smart console, right? And you have to enable the blade in SG1, because we are performing this full thing on SG1. We are not touching the SG2. So I'll be doing this from SG1. So you have to basically right click it, or you can just click on this and click on edit, or you can select edit from here, or you can basically double click also. There are plenty of options, so you can select whatever. Okay, so as you can see, we have our edit window, and from this edit window, you can see there are several blades that are out there, and we will be selecting the identity awareness blade. So whenever we check this box up, a window will pop up and it will ask, I have to use the AD query. What else do you want? So I will select browser based. You can actually do it as terminal servers too. Okay. Okay, so I will use the browser-based authentication, and you can use terminal servers too. But for this video, just for demonstration, I will be showing this browser-based authentication, and I will hit on next. The next thing, as you can see, I have already added the Active Directory, but in your case, you will be having a blank name. which will be saying that create your directory. So you have to name your directory's domain, whichever you gave it. You have to give the username. You have to give the password. Else you have to give a binding information. In that binding information, you have to mention the IP which this server is running, which this AD server is. So in my case, it was 192.168.1.120.250. So let me do one thing. Let me take my Epic pen. Yeah. So in my case, that was 192.168.1.250, which was running my AD server. And you have to mention it in binding information because you are doing it as fresh. So I have tested it before making this video. That's why it's already present there. But what I will do is jump into the Smart Console again. And let me switch to my mouse. Yeah. So in that, you have to basically connect it. To check the connect, let's ping it first. So we have connected. We got this checkpoint.lab. So we will check the connectivity by pinging it first, whether it is available or not. So I have clicked it right now. Yeah. So what I will do is next ping. Right. And it's only in, we just want ping, PING space and the IP, which is 192.168.1.250, and hit enter. And let's see if we get a reply. Yes, we got a reply. So we have a communication, right? So let's do one thing. We should connect to our AD server. For that, you have to basically click on connect. And let me minimize this. Yeah. So you have to click on connect, which will start communicating with your AD server. So I will click on connect. Right. And it started to connect. And sometimes I also face this, and let's see, yeah, it's successful connect. Sometimes it takes time to connect and it says failed to communicate to this thing. So what you have to do is just initiate a ping or something like that. It will connect it. So basically it didn't happen right now, but sometimes it happened to me also. So you don't have to worry that your AD server is not connecting to the firewall. You have to basically connect to, you have to basically ping or try to communicate with any other medium so that a communication should happen and this connection can be successful. So I'm going for next, which will give me another options, right? Okay. And the best thing about this authentic, okay, sorry, I will go for back. I hit twice the next button. So the best thing about this is it will show you the default policy you have to create so that this should work, right? Let me click on back. Yeah. So this is the one. It shows that source should be finance user, any finance user. It's showing a just a basic one, basic format which you have to do. Yeah, so it's just the basic format that you have to create a source, you have to create the destination, you have to create an HTTP and accept with the bracket display captive portal. So you have to do this, and whenever a traffic is generated to that one, this main URL will be there, and you can change this URL whatever you want, and you can edit out the portal interfaces also. So I will not do anything. I will show you afterwards, right? So let's explore what all there is. So what you have to do is create an access role object to the security policy. And talking about access role objects, right? We have to talk about access role object because of the different kind of object that we didn't use earlier, right? So talking about access role object, right? It's a new kind of object. You usually created a host, or you created a network, you created URLs and everything you can create. You created user group, LDAP, whatever you needed, you created like that, right? So in this, what this access role does is it contains elements of different kinds and tries to match it with the object. Means you can mention it that use the specific range, use NAT in this, use this in this, you can use the AD server in this, and you can actually It's a combination of object, you can say that. In short, it's a combination of object in a single object. That's what this access role does. And let's see what it does so that it's more easier for you to understand it, right? And I will click on finish, and that's done, right? So the identity awareness is done, and now you can see an identity awareness tab in the left side. Okay. Yeah. So now you can see an identity awareness tab in the left side. So when you click on it, basically it will open the settings of that. So you can change the URL if you want it. So I will not change it. So basically you can change the URL by clicking on settings. So I will show you the extra options that it has. So if you click on settings, it will open that do you want to change this URL, or there means you can run this on a gateway or you can run on specific things. There is access settings, which if I go to that and click on edit, it will pop up another window which will say the main URL will be this, and you can import the certificate because this certificate is not it's not there in our default browsers and all. So you can import this certificate. For importing, you have to click on import, and you can actually accessibility is there where you can edit out the interfaces, which was our last part of the installation of the settings of the identity awareness. I can say that, right? So next we have to click on OK. So I will not change, just to show you what all you can do with this, right? So I will click on OK. And so the next thing, there are many things. So for authentication, let's jump to authentication. Authentication settings, we'll click on edit and it will pop up another video, means another window, not a video. Okay, so for authentication of users, it's using username and password. You can use a Radius server too. There are LDAP users. You can just check for authentication settings right here. You can specifically add some users also. Okay, so you can do that also. Okay, I will go for OK. The next thing is our portal customization. And talking about portal customization, it's if you use this web-based captive portal, you use this a lot, because in this thing, you will have a feature in which you can set your company logo and company logo for mobiles, which means in a small device, what should be this? So if you're using company logo and it has a portal title, let me change that portal title to my company, which is Networkers Home. Just to be cool, yeah. And I will click on OK, which will save this. And our portal title will be Networkers Home, and I can use my company logo, but right now I don't have that in this PC. Okay, so the next thing, user access. So in user access, if you click on settings, you can actually mention the time. You can actually mention the time, means in how much time they can access this website or how much time it's left. So the minimum is 5. You can't go below than 5. If you go below than 5, it will show you an error if you hit OK. So minimum is 5, and it can go up to many minutes. So, and the default one is 750. I actually tried to create it. That's why it saved 5. So default one is 750. So I will go for 5 because it will show you a timer basically. Okay, so that's all. And you can there are many other options. You can just click it and explore it. You can actually create a guest login also, unregistered guest login. There are many features. You have to basically explore it. I'm just giving you a demo, means to do the lab, to just get started with the lab, right? So there are many options in the checkpoint, and I don't think anyone covers these all things, right? I will click on OK. And the next thing you have to do is click on OK, right? Because we are done with this thing. So I will click here, OK. Right? The next thing, as we talk, we have to create a policy. We have to create a security policy. So we will jump into security policy. Right? And let me remove this Epic pen so it's clear for you. Yeah. So we are in policy, right? So in this policy, as you can see, we have DNAT and zone. So basically I created it for the previous lab. So I will clear this denied section. I will delete this. So to delete it, it's very simple. You have to right click it and delete it. Okay. And I will add a new title, which will be like identity awareness section title. And I'll be adding a rule below that. So, okay. So for that, I will go and click on right click and delete this section title. Sorry, I right click on a wrong place, right? You have to click on the title. You don't have to click on the other thing. So I will go for, let's rename it. It's better to rename it rather than delete it. I will rename it to identity awareness, and that's cool, I guess. Yeah. So I will identity awareness, right? So as you can see, identity awareness is up, and we have to add a rule. Okay. To perform a rule, you have to basically click on the title. You have to go right click on the title and say, add a rule below this thing. Okay. For that, you have to right click it and you have to go new rule below, which means below that title. Okay. Now identity awareness will have a default rule, which will have any and drop, which will be similar to a cleanup rule. Yeah. So we have to edit out the name also. So I will just scroll out to left. Okay. I don't know why it's running a little bit slow. Maybe my internet is slow. Yeah. Yeah. So as you can see, we are in our identity awareness, and I will rename it to traffic to web server. Okay. That will be my rule name, traffic to web server. Great. I will hit enter to save it. And for the source, this is where we create a new object. We have to create an access rule object. To create an access rule object, there are a couple of methods. You can go here, you can go here, you can go at the right side of the objects and create a new object. You can go the top one, which is right here, or you can just click on plus. That will also do the same thing. So I will go for plus because it's near, right? So I will hit on plus and it will show you the number of objects that are currently present. So I don't want it. I just wanted to create a new object, which will be my access rule. Okay. And in that access rule, I'll be specifying that, okay, use this network and use this all. So for that, you have to go for access rule. That's the third one, right? I will click on it and it will open a window where you have to mention the name. So this object name will be identity awareness IA. I will give this object IA just for organization. But in corporate environment, make sure you use a normal name. It means that you can relate to, else you will be in trouble. So you can actually specify any networks. Any network means anyone which is going to access this to any destination. So I will specify a specific network, which you can specify it. Okay, so to specify a specific network, you have to check on this and you have to click on this small plus button, and it will open a window in which you have to add a network, basically. So you can do this. So I will not add it. I will go for any, so that everyone can access it from the any network, right? And I will go for users. There are many options. There are machines and remote clients too, which is another topic. But for the starter purpose, let's just discuss this thing. So any user can access this. So I have to specify the specific users, right? So I have a AD server. So I have to go for specific user. Click on that radio button. It will be blinked, and then you have to click on small plus icon, which will show me your checkpoint lab domain is here. What do you want to use in that? So I will go for users, right? And I will click on that. So basically it will add the user. So it will add the user, which means whatever that AD server checkpoint lab has, just add to this access rule. And I will click on OK. There are many remote access clients option also. You can edit it out. It's up to you what you have to do. My source is IA set. So what should be our destination? Destination should be 63.8.0.25, which is my web server, right? So before accessing that web server, my okay, let's do one thing. Let's create a host which will signal. Oh, I already have one host which specifies D is your host and IP address is 63.8.0.25. So I will basically select it. You know how to add a network host, so I will not repeat it because I already have it. So I will click on plus and it's added. What is the services and application you want to use? So basically I want to use only HTTP. So I will go and add HTTP and let me scroll right to it so that, yeah. Okay. So for that, you have to click on any plus button, small plus button, which will open a window again. And in that window, you have to type HTTP to show the network objects. Okay. HTTP, and from the below list where it loads all, you have to click on HTTP, right? So I will click on the small button of HTTP. Then our HTTP will be added. Now to specify the action. So as you know, we have accept action. So I will go for accept and it will be accepted. The traffic will be accepted and I can access it. But if you do only accept, the web captive portal will not load. So what you have to do to enable the web captive portal, you have to click on action again and you have to go for more and make a small check on enable identity captive portal, which will load the captive portal, right? So I will click on OK and it's done. That's all you wanted to do. Okay. And if you want to keep a track on it, you can enable the logs. You can install it on specific gateway. So I will click on that and I will install it on SG1 because firewall 2 is not needed for that. So I'll click on plus symbol and then I will choose firewall 1, which is CPSG1. Let it load the screen. Yeah. I will go for CPSG1. Okay, great. We have added CPSG1. The next thing that you have to do is publish and install this. To publish, you have to click on publish, or you can directly click on install policy, which will ask, hey, do you want to perform both of this together? It will do like that. Means it will publish it and install it. Okay. So you have unpublished changes and I will say publish and install this changes. Okay. So I will click on publish and install. When clicked, it will start to publish the rule, right? So after publishing, install it on gateway 1. If both are selected, doesn't matter because P specifically mentioned CPSG1 will be our destination. So I will do is install. Which will start the installation of this policy. And let it take time to install. For time, I will pause this video till it installs. So finally, our policy is installed and let's check it out to see that policy installed. I will show you it's installed, right? So if I click on it, it will show that policy is installed and we don't have any current sessions, sir. So I will go for our Internet Explorer, right? I'll click on it and it's open like this. Let me make it. Yeah. So I will access it directly, right? So I will go for this and I will go for HTTP.
HTTP 60. Okay, it's HTTPS. I will edit it out. I will go for HTTP 63.8.0.25. I'll hit enter. Let it load. And it's not loading. Let's see. Okay, so it's currently loading. Let's wait. Okay. Yeah, it's finally loaded. I don't have to write it again. It's finally loaded, and as you can see, this site is not secure because I don't have the fingerprint. That's why it's not secure. So I will go for details, and then I will proceed to go to this web page. Means it will forward it to the web page. And if I hover it, as you can see at the top bottom left corner, we have 192.168.1.111 /connect, which was our web captive portal's IP. So if I click on this, okay, so let me make it full screen. Yeah, okay. So if I hover over it, as you can see again, yeah, at the top bottom left corner, 192.168.1.1.111 with oblique connect, which means it's the captive website. So I will click on it and let's see if it loads. Yeah, it's loaded and it will now prompt me for adding a username and a password to give my credentials so that I can continue for the website. So, for your information, I added a title at the portal thing and it's there, it's networkers home. So I will try to write the password. Uh, and I mistakenly mistaked it. Okay, so I will edit it out again. Yeah, and I will type it again admin at the rate 1234 and I will hit on login, which will forward it to 63.8.0.25. So as you can see, it's loaded. Our web server is loaded. The default page of web server is loaded, and that's it for this video. We have completed our identity awareness and you can explore more and more option in here. So it's up to you. You have to perform the lab. You can explore and that's all. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.